everyone. My name is Gayla Bartlett, and welcome to a holiday edition of Faith in Your Community. I am so excited and blessed to have some of my wonderful faith family friends here with me today, and they're going to talk about what they are doing to keep their people connected and alive and excited through the holiday season. So if you could, we can go around. We'll start with Allison. If you could introduce yourselves and say where your place of worship is, that would be wonderful.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Allison Adler, and I'm with Temple B'nai Abraham in Beverly.
Great. Pam?
Reverend Pam Cochran, Maple Street Congregational Church at 90 Maple Street, right on the main drag in Danvers.
Great. Elijah?
Hi, my name is Pastor Elisha Cho, and I serve as lead pastor at Danvers Church of the Nazarene on 181 Deaton Street in Danvers.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming. We're excited to have you all here. And I have been on your Facebook pages and on your websites, and you have got so many exciting things going on. I think it's wonderful that you're all forward thinkers and out of the box thinkers. So the things that you're doing with your congregations to keep them active and engaged has been wonderful. And since we're into Hanukkah and tomorrow's the last day, correct, Rabbi? So I would like to give the floor to Rabbi Allison first, if you would like to talk about what you've been doing and some of your Facebook Live things. We'll let you start on the excitement that you've been doing.
Okay. I think like a lot of us back in March, we had to really pivot and do things really differently. We all did. The whole world did. And I'm grateful that I'm part of these different conversation groups where people are sharing ideas about how they're, rabbis, ministers are sharing ideas about how they're being creative about how to do things. And so we've kind of been doing that all along. Most everything's been through Zoom and then also on Facebook. So, but for Hanukkah, we had something every night. We're calling the Hanukkah Dream Team. It's members of the community from different parts of the community planning all of this. So there were different things for different ages and some things for every age. And Hanukkah parties on Zoom and lighting with different themes and intentions each night. And one of the things, as you mentioned, Gayla, is that one of our members built a menorah, Hanukkah menorah. It's pretty much bigger than I expected. It's really big. And it's made out of PVC pipe. He's a plumber, and it is solar powered, so that, obviously collects it's charges during the day, and then we're able to light it up each night and add one each night as the holiday goes on. And so the first night, Mayor in Beverly came to join us for the lighting, and then we had a drive-in menorah lighting on another night. And our sisterhood also prepared these beautiful gift bags with chocolate and candles and blessings and all kinds of other little goodies that all the members in our community got as well.
It's a lot of fun and it's creative. And then you also streamed it on Facebook Live, right? So everybody could see it, which is, who knew that Facebook, we always knew it would come in handy, but especially now that everybody can stay connected, right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Great. Elijah, would you like to go next and tell us what you guys have been doing over there?
Sure. Just like Rabbi mentioned, we've had to pivot and really think out of the box like everyone else. But by God's grace, we've been able to slowly but surely get linked and connected with our parishioners and with our outside world. So we have been streaming online our worship services on Sunday mornings through Facebook, and our small groups have been on Zoom. Lots of activities that are done online just to get people connected. For 18 Sundays during the summer, we were outside because of limitations of being inside the building. And again, by God's grace, we didn't have any rain for 18 consecutive Sundays. So we were outside worshiping, and our neighbors were very gracious to us. And they, gave me comments about, we like your music and it's so good to see your church outside. So that was great. And then coming back in, we had to do some signups on Eventbrite, which is something that I guess many churches are doing, so that we just know how to facilitate our people to be safe and also to be able to worship. And Christmas is coming up, so we're preparing for our Christmas Eve candlelight service. And we're going to have LED candles this year. So changing it up just a little bit. And you can see a big present to my left. And the theme of it is embrace the present of his presence. Because right now everyone's very much flustered with what's going on, but we can't miss the present of his presence in our lives. So we're excited for that as well. And this year we'll be finishing up our Bible Project 2020, which I introduced to you, Gayla, a couple of years ago. We're at our final stages, and by Christmas Eve, we'll be able to finish our community Bible, where each person has been able to write chapters of the Bible, bring it in. We're scanning it and putting it on a small USB stick and giving it for Christmas to our parishioners. And it's been a wonderful thing, people getting into the Word. And one thing I guess the pandemic has brought to us is a little bit more time. So people need something to do, especially our elderly congregation, and they've really enjoyed it. So some of them have actually finished their own Bible, writing it, scribing the Bible. So those are some of the things that we've been involved with.
That's great. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago when you came on the show and we talked about that. It's almost done. That's so exciting. Very great.
Indeed.
Reverend Pam, the floor is yours at Maple Street.
Yes, well, I just love hearing about all of the ways we're using, social media and the different online platforms. It has certainly expanded both my own experience, but also everyone has had a first where they've tried Zoom, where they didn't think they could do it, and watched people help them. And after they swore they couldn't, they're on, and then they come back and they're now helping somebody else. We've tried to utilize our website to be able to live stream through Facebook, but we realized that there were a lot of folks who weren't on Facebook, didn't have the access. And so we are just very grateful for DCAT to be able to have that collaboration, to also be able to live stream with our videos and have that reach people in their homes who don't have the screens and the devices. It's been a real hard piece to realize if we need to get to folks who don't have the technology. I wish we could send everybody a smart TV that we'd be able to, be in their living room all the time, but we're working on that. We have a team of caregivers who have spent, especially as we went into our Advent season, we call it the 4 weeks that shape our path to a Christmas Eve. We're looking forward to next week. It has really been about these personal connections. So they've been doing cards and phone calls. We've used our parking lot a lot, and people are now finding that has been a good way to bring people together for small groups. Our World Service is out there each Sunday now. This will be the third Sunday. They had wind, they had warmth last week. Goodness knows what this Sunday will bring. But they brought out a Christmas tree and tried to do their mission of coming and decorating and putting a star on it, as well as contributing to mission outreach for this season, which is actually supporting Bootstraps this particular year. It's always a different organization. We reach our families, are overloaded on Zoom. So I record a lot more story times and ways for them to connect, but we have been able to do a Zoom small worship for families that we can incorporate music. We made a commitment about this time of year. We were feeling the need to fill the night with music and light. Comes from a partnership of our denomination that put out a series that we could embrace into our weekly services. So we're actually embracing music, even though we can't sing. have that component of people singing together. We've been watching films. We've been watching major documentaries that talk about the power of music to overcome times of great darkness. And they have included interfaith dialogue across the continents. And that's really invigorated people because they're home and they can watch a movie and then come together and share it in the small group Zoom meetings. And then they hear that broken open in worship on Sunday. So it's definitely been a season like no other. And I think the hardest thing right now is our families feeling separated when Christmas Eve has traditionally been a time when the body can come together. So we're hoping to light up our sanctuary. I hope people will be able to come by and witness that the light is shining brightly, that we celebrate the breaking in of this light to the world, that the darkness cannot put out as we talk about it. And we'll see. We'll see. We have several more days to plan that. We'll see. We'll see. We'd like to include everyone. One of our things that you talked about bags, Elisha, was this luminary, which we gave out and continue to give out so that folks have some sign of the light of this season at home too. But I has been a challenge. I would say pastoring to a body that feels very isolated and separated has been our biggest challenge. So I am glad we have had a team of caregivers willing to come together to reach out to people wherever they are so they know that they're not alone right now.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Absolutely. And so what do you do for yourselves? I think I've noticed through this whole COVID thing that self-care is so important, whether it's a cup of tea or a moment of calm or something, because you carry your churches, everything on your shoulders. So you are the face, you are the voice, you are the one that everybody goes to. And that's a lot of pressure. And it can be daunting. I think you're all wonderful and just energetic, beautiful souls that do it. But I mean, what do you do for yourselves? Because you have to be, you are the one that everybody looks to. So what are you doing? I mean, I'm just hoping, I mean, because you're all here, you're all smiling, that you're taking those moments and self-reflecting and taking care of yourselves.
Go first, I guess.
Yeah.
I read an article some months ago that talked about a different kind of fatigue that people are feeling, which was, you know, when this first started, we all had this kind of burst of energy because we had to do everything and change everything, and we did, you know, as a parent, as a, you know, for our jobs, for everything, and that being at that level of functioning just isn't possible. You're continuing that the burnout and that the fatigue was it's just different. And to be able to accept that we just may not function at that same level and that that's okay. So that was one very enlightening, as I shared it with my community and other clergy, you know, talking about that. It's just, one is just accepting that we're all experiencing something we've never experienced before, and that however we're feeling is understandable. And it was not long after that I just started to do yoga again and realized I'm not going back to the gym. I got to do something, and doing this on-class, you know, and we bought a treadmill, and I'm doing yoga and just trying to, you know, and we have a dog, and the dog has been, you know, just the most important part of my, you know, taking care of myself is my dog and my son, but different, you know, those kinds of things. And I think the other thing is just, even sitting here now, I'm experiencing just talking with colleagues and how people are doing what you're doing, and all the conversations and ways that we support each other, that's also been a tremendous help for me.
Great. Thank you. Elijah?
Sure. I appreciate the question of self-care. I my wife is writing a dissertation right now on self-care. She's on her final year of doing her doctorate of psychology. So I live with a self-care expert. So I do ask her a lot of questions about it. But for me, I think it's been a good opportunity to take a step back. And like our rabbi mentioned, we've had to work really hard. I mean, I'm not a technology person myself, so being in front of a computer is very foreign, and speaking into a screen is foreign, and recording is foreign, everything is foreign. And yet, being able to take a step back in terms of recognizing that we are living in a very unique age, and saying that although the world is kind of noisy and kind of confused with what's going on, trusting that our God is not confused and our God is not scatterbrained, that He is in charge. So trusting in His sovereignty. So for me, some activities that I've been doing is I like to visit our sanctuary every day, a couple of times a day, just to come in and pray. And for me, kneeling down and praying has been one of those activities that has really calmed me. My body posture has helped my heart posture to align with what God wants to tell me. So one of my friends who's a Buddhist, he asked me, so why is this world becoming so crazy? And I said, well, that's true. It is kind of crazy outside, what's going on, and the pandemic and whatnot. But I said, in my prayer times, this is what I've realized, that perhaps the crazies have always been inside of us. But the situation of not doing as much has let those crazies come to the surface. And maybe it's time for us to kind of think about and deal with what's going on. And that's what's been happening to me. And I've been sharing with my congregation some of these feelings or emotions that are rising to the surface. And how do I deal with it? And I invite Holy Spirit to help me to become more like Jesus, and becoming more sanctified in that way. So praying has been helping, but also just sitting, sitting and admiring what God has done through nature, and being able to absorb and just saying, thank you. Thank you that I'm alive. Thank you that I have this calling to serve and to love on these beautiful people that God has called me to serve. And that's been helpful as well. And then spending time with family. And, I enjoy being with my wife and being with our two kids. And sometimes we need times apart as well. That's important too. But being able to utilize those times to refresh myself, and to love them and to be loved by them. Because it's a both-way street, I guess. I need to be able to give and also to receive, empty myself, and then to fill myself up. So it's been a good season of learning, and I'll be learning as long as God gives me breath.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. Heart posture. What a
Yeah,
great
very,
term,
very well
Elisha.
said.
Heart posture. That's beautiful. Pam?
Yeah, and I'm reminded, even though I'm looking out and it's so completely white and snow covered out there, that what was
Pam, we lost your voice. Pam, can you hear us?
out
I
in
lost your
nature.
voice.
Can you
Can
hear
you hear
me
me?
now?
Yep, good.
Being
Okay.
out being out in nature and grounded in that with those warm months as we went into summer. I mean, that we just told people, get outside, walk, find that space. And that really, I think, helped us reconnect with that practice. For me, it was really taking that extra time. I have dogs as well, and they, get me out every morning. And for my husband and I, in that early quarantine time, it was the really religious walk and getting time to do that kind of decompressing, grounded connection to nature. We pointed out all of the bird songs and the plants and things like that. As the winter and fall, there's been that return to uncertainty. I think that's been really hard for individuals. But even as clergy, if you run that every day, it's like you do not know, what's the next alert, the next thing coming. You need others to help you be present to what you are doing in that moment for yourself or for someone else. And I'm thankful in my denomination, we have a very strong denominational support. So I have two different clergy groups. One is a close group that I can meet and talk with specifically about how we're feeling as we're walking this path of COVID and raised tension, and anxiety for folks, but also one that approaches how are you able to meet the needs of your congregation. We're fortunate with Reverend Douglas and I, there's two of us. We've never been more fortunate enough to have more than one person to be doing the pastoral calls and taking breathers for each other. And now the denomination is supporting us. They've been giving us resources already, prepped so that there's more time for us to take that breath we might need. I think that's really been significant. Several people have said, and I think you all shared it too, that we, as the ministers and those supporting our congregations, need to take care of ourselves so that we can walk with our people through this whole piece. And early on, it was those words of, you're going to be useless if you are so tired and you've overextended yourself. And I kind of have that sticky note for me on my computer. Today, I've been looking way too much at all these videos, trying to, hopefully to put some music together. But even I need to say, now you need to get up and take a break and go sit. And, lots of work. Work for self-care is always an ongoing project.
Absolutely. And you're also good at it, though.
Well, you must have a good practice too, Gayla, because you've got
Yes.
your hand in a lot of things as well with all the roles you play. So
The Hallmark Channel is my salvation. And I will say that, no problem. That is my quiet time. That is my Zen time. That is leave mommy alone or whatever I am for the day and just let me be with Hallmark. And I'm okay with that because I need the happy. And I think, as you probably realize, being the one that, as a manager, I'm always constantly the one that has to be the happy. And that's a lot. And that can take a toll on you too. So absolutely. We all need our moments to sit in the sanctuary or talk to colleagues or rejuvenate with Hallmark and, just take a deep breath. So now that we have the holidays right here, we have the end of Hanukkah coming, we have Christmas Eve coming. What is your favorite holiday tradition? What do you love best about the holidays? You as you, not you as the rabbi or the pastor or Allison, you want to go first?
Okay. I guess this is me as me and as probably a rabbi, but I love Hanukkah. I love the symbolism of lighting lights and how each night the light increases, and that it's about the different themes. There was a battle, and it was a war, and the underdogs won, and there's that aspect of it, but there's also just the bringing light into darkness, and that this year and the past couple of years, really how meaningful that has been, I think, for me, and that's also a universal theme in a way. It's not the light. The increasing light, especially this darkest time of year, solstice time and all that. So just being with my family and lighting the candles and singing and, reflecting. We're supposed to just sit with the candles as they're burning and not do other things or not use the light for other purposes. If the light is there to kind of enjoy or to reflect on or to sit with, it's not and it's supposed to light them, then go off to the kitchen and do others. It's very hard, I think, but I just think it's also just that's been really nice and important as well. My son is harder. It's harder to get him to do that these days, but it's still a favorite for me.
I love that. It's beautiful. Elijah?
Well, as Pam was mentioning self-care, something just came to mind. So I'll just share this real quick. I think it's been a while since I've been on an airplane, but the captain always tells us, should anything happen and the masks come down, put yours on first and then put it on for your loved one. And that's something that I've been thinking about. So thank you for reminding me of that, Pam, because we need to be filled up. Yeah. I will be useless if I'm burnt out. That is true. Personally speaking, I think one of my greatest weaknesses that may turn into one of my greatest strengths is that I'm a very forgetful person. Maybe it's one of the plagues of humanity that we forget. And we forget God's grace, forget God's love sometimes. And what I enjoy most about Christmas and the church calendar in all is that it reminds me, it keeps me in a rhythm. It's like a steady drumbeat on a very good song that keeps the beat, and my heart beats with that beat. And so Christmas reminds me that Jesus came, and he came into my life as well, and that I can be reminded that there is hope, for Christ in us is the hope of glory. So that steady beat of the seasons helps me to be reminded, because I'm a forgetful person, and I think that's part of God's grace for me.
That's great. Pam?
Well, I'm reminded because I see behind Elisha the wonderful crush scene you have there, and I have many crushes and mangers, and this year I don't have them all displayed. I usually, for the last couple of years, have been able to do that in the sanctuary and invite people to bring theirs and tell the story. For me, this season is about retelling the story we tell each year of our faith, about a night and a journey and a light that comes into the world. And I've been tending to the sanctuary to see that people don't have that space. Have heard over the months, if I could just come and be in that space. And we have been able to, since we broadcast from there, have people come once or, by themselves or with one of us is there. But I know how much they long for that space. So for me, Advent is about tending to that space. For us, we add something each week. The creche in our sanctuary moves. All of the characters are spread out, and each week you see them reappearing as they get closer to this manger, and there's children are adding something to it and adults are adding, and we're singing this song that progresses each week. And I've held very true to that and been sending them videos and pictures of those things. And this year, I hope that I will be there once again to finish off putting all of those elements together for them, so that they know that their sanctuary is telling the story once again of this night. Because that's the personal way. Everyone has a different element that they might is life-giving for them about this story of the light breaking through, God being with us. And for us, it is the symbol of this new birth in a baby in a manger. So
I think that's beautiful. And it's been amazing to drive around. I don't know if I'm sure you've all been out on light tours at night to go see all the beautiful lights. But there are more mangers out than normal. And there are actually inflatable Hanukkah items I've seen, Rabbi, that I didn't know existed, that I just saw this year, that have popped up, which is fascinating. And I think COVID has definitely made people go a little, not overboard, but more excitement to do things for their neighbors to drive by and see. which is nice. So a lot more of the together time in the cars, singing holiday songs and looking down all the streets and discovering streets I didn't know existed, which has been kind of fun to live in a town and you find a street you never knew was there because there's beautiful lights there. I think that's been really mystifying and a little bit magical, which has been neat. But definitely a lot more nativity sets have been out, which has been really cool to see. And then, like I said, Allison, Rabbi, the inflatable Hanukkah items that I didn't even know existed are there. Did you know? Big dreidels and all kinds of cool things. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like, so inflatable things are definitely in this year, which is great. So you have Christmas Eve service coming up. I know Maple Street is going to stream it live. No, we're going to stream it. It's going to be
We're gonna
recorded.
broadcast. Yeah, we're going to stream a
Broadcast.
broadcast. We have two services. Well, because people are creatures of habit, we have them bracketed as our early service and late service, and we'll post them on our online media platforms. But I think we will invite folks to come by. We're just beginning to work on that if protocols are acceptable outdoors, to see it lit up, and that we will be a witness to the mark of Christmas Eve.
Beautiful. And Elijah, you're going to be live in the sanctuary on Christmas Eve?
Yes, we're going to meet in the sanctuary, and we're asking everyone to sign up so everyone has assigned seating so that everyone has enough space. And you won't have to worry about blowing out candles because we have LED candles this year. We'll have live music, a message, but also it'll be broadcasted on the live stream on our Facebook page as well for those who can't make it. And so we want to make ourselves available so that people keep that steady rhythm of spiritual formation.
Great. And Rabbi, tonight, will you be Facebook living?
We will be, we have a Zoom Hanukkah party. For the
Okay.
last night, and then actually the Beverly Multi-Faith Coalition on Monday evening, the solstice group of them have done for years a longest night service, and this year they've made it more fully multi-faith, and so that is going to be on Facebook on the Beverly Multi-Faith Coalition Facebook page, and then and also in other ways. So that's a very moving way for us to be able to come together, I think, in any way.
That's beautiful.
It's
Yeah,
our
thank
time.
you for sharing that. If we can share that post too, that would be great, Allison. I'll look for it on Facebook.
Okay.
So my name is Maria de Carlin. I serve All Saints Episcopal Church of the North Shore in Danvers, and I've been there 7 years.
Beautiful. So Maria, what is your church doing right now for the holidays coming up? I know you have a lot on your Facebook page and on your website as well. How have you been keeping everyone connected during these times?
Well, we are using the platform of Zoom to stay connected, and we have about, I would say 5/6 of our community still worshiping with us on Zoom, and another small portion, 10 or 15 or so, worshiping in person in our traditional contemplative service on Sunday morning. So we have in person at 9 and Zoom at 10. And how we're preparing for the holidays is keeping in mind the season of Advent. And we've been doing an Advent study online using the curriculum on the Way of Love developed by our presiding bishop, Michael Curry. And we have also been planning an in-person pageant for Christmas Eve that will be Zoomed. So people will be able to see the church and see the procession of the pageant, but they'll be able to do it from the safety of their own homes.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. We're also offering a Blue Christmas service on the 21st. We've never done that before, but we thought if we were going to do it, this year would be a great time to do it because there are a lot of people that are feeling very blue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about self-care. And what do you do to take care of yourself, knowing that you're the lead, that you carry, everyone looks to you as their, their pastor. So what do you do to take care of yourself?
So I have found myself sleeping more and reading more. And I sleep more because my child doesn't need to get on the bus at 7 a.m. anymore. So it's a wonderful way to sleep in. And I'm reading more just because I'm not driving anywhere. I don't spend 3 or 4 hours a day going between hospitals and nursing homes and home visits. So I have some extra time that I'm using to read, and we're doing book studies and just my own personal reading. I've been doing a lot of reading on anti-racism.
That's wonderful. And we also asked each person here if they could tell us what their favorite thing about the holidays is. You as a person, not you as the pastor, the reverend. You, what is your favorite part of the holiday season?
So when I was a little girl, my mother was into ceramics, and she made this beautiful ceramic nativity set after her aunt had made one for her. And when I was a little girl, I used to look at this nativity set and just take out the baby, put him back in, take out the baby. I would just, like, it was godly play with the nativity set. And so since we've become adults, my mother has made each one of us a nativity set. And so my favorite part is just putting that nativity set out and dredging up all the memories of being a little girl and trying to put that manger in my heart and trying to make sense of what that meant for me.
It was beautiful, Maria. Thank you. So you guys might have to refresh me. What other questions did I ask so I can make sure we get all the same questions so we can edit them together? We asked about your favorite time of the season, what you're doing to keep everybody connected. Oh, do you also want to talk about your pet ministry?
Oh, we're having a traditional service this coming Sunday at 5 p.m. It's always the third Sunday of the month, but our traditional Christmas service is where we read the story of the Nativity through the eyes of animals. And it's one of my favorite services because it's very festive. We usually share food, and we bring our favorite Christmas hors d'oeuvres, but we're going to be having eggnog on Zoom.
That sounds like fun. That'll be cute.
Yeah.
That's very cute. And what else do you think you've been doing to help your congregation through all this? I mean, what are the words of wisdom or things have you really done that you think has helped everybody with this time?
It's interesting that you say that. I've been quoting the Dalai Lama, and I usually have the quote right in front of me, but I don't have it in front of me right now. But it goes something like this. There are 2 days of the year that are not helpful. I can't remember the word he used, but one is yesterday and one is tomorrow. The day that's most helpful is today, because we can do, we can believe, we can serve, we can be who God is calling us to be. Now, that's a terrible rendition of the Dalai Lama, but it's close.
It's beautiful.
So what I tell people is not to worry about yesterday or tomorrow, but simply live in the present moment and be who God is calling you to be in that present moment.
That's great. So do you guys have anything you want to say to each other or any questions for each other while we have you all together? Because I think it's
so
wonderful
great to see you without a mask on.
It's the wonders of Zoom, right? We can see everybody. We can see all those. You can see all the beautiful smiling faces. So do you have any questions for each other? I know some of you see each other more frequently than others, but is there anything you want to share with anybody else in the community that's watching?
Well, I want to say thank you to our faith leaders in our community. I understand that it's been rough and tough and pivoting and balancing all of these things have been taking a toll. And yet I give God praise that God is sustaining us. And we're in this for the long haul, right? So I just want to thank you for my colleagues here.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Elisha. And you too.
Anybody else have any closing statements? Pam?
Well, I serve on Danvers Cares, our community coalition for families, children and families, and I represent them, the liaison of the faith communities. And I just the first Monday of each month, and I share the last several months since we began back in the fall, how our faith communities, the buildings might be closed in some capacity, but the faith communities are open and serving and looking for ways to connect with our community. So lean in, find those communities of faith that are meeting in all these places. And they all nod their heads. And I know, so today being able to connect again this way and hear how you are reaching out to your congregation and those that you meet and see everywhere, and the way you can share that with news in the community and crossing our town lines so that the North Shore knows that they have faith leaders whose arms and ears and hearts are open means a great deal to me. And I look forward to more opportunities in the new year for us to reimagine how we do this together.
I love those words. Heart posture, reimagine. Beautiful words. Rabbi? Allison? Parting words?
Similarly, that I am just inspired by each of you and all the ways that you're doing what you're doing. Elijah also with children at home, and some of us have children at home, and the challenges that come with that, and understanding how our families are struggling so much right now, and figuring out ways to support them and to connect people. And so thank you for sharing everything that you shared, and for us to be able to do this together, have this conversation was really beautiful. So thank you, Gayla, for bringing us together.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Maria, anything before we depart?
Peace on earth.
Amen.
That says it all.
Thank you so much.
God bless your hearts.
Well, be healthy and safe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, everybody, for joining us today as we met with some fantastic and dynamic faith leaders in our community. As always, it's exciting to meet with such wonderful people and listen to their stories, their ideas, and everything they're doing to keep our community connected. It's beautiful. So thank you and blessings to all of you. And hopefully we'll see you back here in Faith in Your Community next time. Thank you so much.